Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So today I'm going to talk about the pricing rules. We talked about the pricing methods, subscription options, right? The pricing rule is important when you're not happy with the subscription offer or the pricing method which comes out of box, right? So for instance, I'll give you an example. This is a pretty classic trailer example, right? So you wanted to sell, say, a Chromebook, obviously, right? In New Zealand, if you're in New Zealand or perhaps in the United States or maybe in the UK, the kids these days use Chromebook at school, right? School encourage um, them to use Chromebooks for their home for the assignments, and it's pretty useful, for doing a lot of things using Google Classrooms and other kind of stuff, right? So, say you as a company wanted to, ship a Chromebook on a discounted price or at a special price, if an account belong to an education account, right? So obviously, when you create an account, you have industry type. So if anything associated with education, right? If say for instance, um, I have account, right? Let me show you, right? And then I have a school account, and where I specified education as industry as an education. So what I wanted to do, I wanted to give um, a different price for a Chromebook for every account associated with industry, uh, where value equals to education, right? Now you can say that, oh, why can't I use the price book, right? You can use the price book, but imagine if you have to use the price book and if you want to work out the scenarios, right, you might end up in having a lot of price books. And when that happens, you might end up in making a mistake by choosing a wrong price book. Oh, then you're going to go and amend it. It's not really a great user experience, right, from a sales rep perspective. So that's why we have something called price rule in place. So price rule will give you that options, and you can do this custom requirement, which is pretty amazing. So before configuring the price book, right, you just have to remember one thing. You have to change the legacy calculator option. So unfortunately, I've changed it, so I can't demonstrate it, but I can still show you. If you go to setup, right, and if you look for install packages, okay, so install packages, um, right, and then look for the CPQ, and then you say configure. All right, this is the CPQ one. Under configure, um, under pricing and calculation, right, you have an option called the legacy calculator, right? So by default, it will be ticked. Okay, so when you untick it, you will have some option called some kind of managed calculation. You need to click that, and it will give you an option to acknowledge it. You do that, then it will get unticked. Means basically you're not using a legacy calculator. If you're gonna use the legacy calculator, then the price rules won't work. Okay, so remember that. Okay, once you configure that, go to this tic-tac-toe icon and you just look for price rules. So I'm going to configure a price rule. Price rule is like an if then condition, right? You have a condition, and based on the condition, you will get an expected output. That's all to it. Okay, it's like if you're coming from an Apex background, you will say if else condition, right? So, or if you've used the formula fields, right? If you are an admin, if you haven't worked with Salesforce Apex, so you would know, right, what if condition means, right? So it's similar to that. We're going to use it here. And I'll show you it's pretty simple. So the first thing first, right? If I wanted to build that scenario where I wanted to give uh, a product called Chromebook to an account where we create a code for a specific rate. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll go to so the Chromebook. So let's look at the product first. Okay. The Chromebook. Uh, the price of it is like $400. Okay, so I wanted to give this to say $230 to an account associated with industry type education. Okay, so I'll go to price rule, go to new, and I say school, or I can say education price. Right, evaluation scope. Use calculator for now. I'll explain in detail in the next episode. on a future episode. But for now, just use calculator. Um, uh, just um, just make sure to you keep it active, right? If you don't take it to active, your pricing rules will not get applicable, right? Yeah, save. All right. Now, this is where the magic happens. The if condition, right? You need to specify a logic. So this is the if, and this price action will be then. Okay, so if you meet certain criteria, you will get this specific outcome. So what is we are looking for? We say, hey, look at the code. So obviously, when you create a code, right, you select an account, and so in that code we have a field called account industry. So this is the default field which Salesforce, which this code has, which is a formula field, which is pretty much linking to an account industry type. So in future, if you wanted to do based on different requirement, you might have to create an extra field, and that will show up here. Okay, so I'm just trying to demonstrate a pretty basic example that's been demonstrated in Trailhead. So, okay, so account industry, operators, I'll say equals, filter type, value, and I'll say education, right? And I'll do save. Okay, so I said if in my code, industry type equals education, right? Now, I also want to choose the product, right? Obviously, what that will do that any if you don't want to choose a product, that's fine. You can use this. But I would really prefer that you choose a product. Otherwise, it will not make any sense, right? So I will do new. Because then you're giving the same price to every product, so which is not really ideal in my opinion. Okay, the code line, because obviously your code line will have product. The field is the product code. So the product code, I will say, equals value Chromebook. Okay. Oh yeah, Chromebook. Obviously, it's in uppercase. Okay, so now I specified my if condition. I said, all right, I have a code, right, where an account industry type equals to education, and when you choose the code line, the product code equals to Chromebook. Pretty simple, right? Now, based on this condition, what exactly you wanted to achieve, right? So I wanted to set a price, which is different to the price book price. So I'll go new. I'll choose the target object as the code line, right? And I'll choose this list price, okay? And I'll say value $230. That's all I have to do, right? Now let's go to the code, okay? I'll create a new code, um, and I'll say make it primary account. I will choose the school account, right? Save it. I'll choose the code line, edit lines, and I'll keep it whatever. That's not a problem here. Right now, add products. Look for Chromebook, and I'll select it. Select. Now you see the difference. $230, right? So that's how it works. It's very flexible, as you can see. It's not rocket science, guys. It's just a very basic configuration, right? You don't need to be a programmer to do this, right? CPQ, there's a developer one, which is a different thing. But I'm saying, I mean, you don't really have to be a developer to actually work with CPQ. You can be a functional consultant, and you will do pretty amazing work with the CPQ. It's pretty simple. It's not complicated. The only thing you have to understand is that different options, different configuration, when to suggest what, right? So if you could manage that, then you're pretty good to go, in my opinion. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Adios.